Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you today with an article from The Federalist, and as promised, it's more information about the Arctic frost investigation and how Joe Biden weaponized the government in a very, 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 very bad way. This one's from, again, The Federalist, dated October 29th, and it says, Arctic frost docs expose the breadth of Biden DOJ's weaponization, and I will repeat for the umpteenth time that this man on the screen that you're looking at, hopefully right now, is not on the Supreme Court, so excuse me, if you want to hate Mitch McConnell, you should at least like him for keeping this man off the Supreme Court. We're definitely a better republic because of it. So there could be no valid reason for such a widespread probe other than to destroy not just Trump, but anyone within 6 degrees of separation. So it says more than 150 individuals in Trump's orbit face scrutiny by the FBI after Biden's attorney general approved the opening of an investigation related to the Trump campaign's use of alternative electors. Documents released Tuesday by the House Judiciary Committee reveal that during the Biden administration, the FBI used the Arctic frost investigation to target Republicans in key battleground states, raising serious questions concerning whether the Democrat-led DOJ plotted with state prosecutors to bring criminal charges against Trump supporters. Arctic frost investigators utilized FBI field offices from across the country to conduct its investigation, the House Judiciary Committee explained in releasing nearly 200 pages of internal emails on Tuesday. I almost said 400 for some reason, even though I'm looking right at 200. So the investigators also sought more than $16,000 in travel expenses to interview more than 40 individuals, according to the House committee. And remember, those are your taxpayer dollars. So the documents contained a list of veritable who's who of players in the 2020 election, including Steve Bannon, Scott Perry, Rudy Giuliani, Jeffrey Clark, John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Peter Navarro, Dan Scavino, Jeff Rosen, and Ed Martin. It says Tuesday's document dump follows news from last week that in early April of 2022, then FBI Director Christopher Wray sought approval to launch Arctic frost as a full investigation. In a memorandum drafted for Attorney General Merrick Garland, Wray claimed that fraudulent certificates of electors' votes were submitted to the Archivist of the United States for Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Director Wray claimed that the Washington field office concluded there were specific and articulable facts that individuals, both known and unknown, engaged in a conspiracy to obstruct Congress's certification of the Electoral College on January 6, 2020, the left's favorite day of the year, as including through the submission of fraudulent certificates of electors' votes to the United States government. Biden's Attorney General approved the opening of the criminal investigation, even though Wray's memorandum detailed public comments by both the Trump team and the various alternative electors establishing that their intent was to preserve the legal challenges to the election. Equally shocking is A.G. Garland's decision to approve the investigation, even with clear precedent pointing to the propriety of the use of alternative electors in contested elections. As the Federalist explained in the left's 2020 fake electors narrative is fake news. That's an article that is linked right there. You can certainly click on that if you would like to. The article is linked below, isn't the one I'm reading. Of course, you can get into that and then get into that article by way of it. It's about halfway down the page. It says the exact same scenario occurred in Hawaii in 1960 when Nixon was certified the victor while Kennedy's legal challenge to the outcome remained pending. Both Democrat and Republican electors certified that they were the duly and legally qualified and appointed electors for Hawaii. And the 3 Democrat electors, which included 2 retired federal judges, attested, alongside their Republican counterparts, we hereby certify that the lists of all the votes of the state of Hawaii given for president and all the votes given for vice president are contained herein. Because unlike most of Trump's state court challenges, the Hawaii court reached the merits of Kennedy's election challenge before Congress tallied the electoral votes, with the court concluding Kennedy won Hawaii. As a result, and only because the Democrat alternative electors submitted their vote for Kennedy to Congress, Hawaii's 3 electors were included in Kennedy's total. Given this precedent, it is inconceivable that the FBI would launch an investigation into supposed fraud premised on the use of alternative electors, much less that the Attorney General would approve the investigation. Tuesday's release of internal emails adds to the scandal, though, by showing that the FBI wasn't merely targeting Trump or a few high-level individuals, or officials, it says. I read a word that was not in front of me, but potentially more than 150 individuals, as there could be no valid reason for such a widespread probe other than to destroy not just Trump, but anyone within 6 degrees of separation. This scorched earth approach sent a clear message not to dare challenge a Democrat win. Notwithstanding the extensive federal investigation into the use of alternative electors, Special Counsel Jack Smith only charged Donald Trump with crimes related to the contested election, although the indictment describes several supposed co-conspirators. However, several states, or in the case of Georgia, Fulton County, pursued nearly identical criminal cases against the alternative electors, as well as other lawyers and members of the Trump campaign. We know from the fight to force Fani Willis's recusal in the Georgia criminal case against Trump and nearly 20 other Republicans that both the Fulton County prosecutor and her Paramore-paid junior prosecutor engaged with Biden administration. Here we go again. Jason can't pronounce the word. So Biden administration, there we go, officials both before and after obtaining the indictment. We also know that Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Michigan pursued similar criminal charges. We don't know yet, though, is whether the Biden administration coached or coaxed those officials to weaponize the state criminal justice system. I have to stop looking at the word officials and having it say individuals, because clearly that's what I think it says, but it says officials. So sounds bad, huh? Yeah, I mean, it is. Given what went down in Georgia, it shouldn't be surprising. It just might take some time before congressional oversight committees uncover evidence that the Biden administration concocted the state charges. In the meantime, though, scores of innocent Americans, whose only crime was backing Trump, remain in jeopardy in Arizona, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Only Michigan's electors obtained a reprieve after a state court judge dismissed the charges brought by Michigan's Democrat Attorney General, holding there was no crime. And yet, Democrats continue to decry the Trump administration for supposedly weaponizing the Department of Justice. Right, yeah. They are guilty of all the things they say Trump is doing, okay, and worse. Such as, this entire article and yesterday's that I've been reading. It says, after the Biden administration targeted more than 150 Trump-connected Americans, that sob story won't sell. And that is the end of the article. So, yeah, between yesterday and today, you get a lot of stuff that the Biden administration did that was really bad. And I'm sure Obama is tied to this in some way, considering it's just or Biden's administration was just a continuation of his. So I'm glad we're getting to the bottom of this, and just keep in mind that Trump has still a little more than 3 years left, so I'm sure we're not going to hear the last of this. And wait till you hear tomorrow's video about how much time the major news networks have spent on this scandal. Let's just say the total number of seconds rhymes with 0. But anyway, I'm done here. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.